Next on my tiny bench is this very nice Magnavox CDB560. We see the 650s, but we don't see too many of the 560s rather. And this comes to us with the complaint that will not power on. Just in case there's a short, I've got it connected to this super fancy dim bulb tester. So let's just see what happens when we try to turn it on. I think in the camera it looks like the dim bulb is already engaged, but that's just a reflection of another light in the room. Okay, stand back. Now, if there's a true short, this will just glow quite brightly. Let's see what happens. Yeah, will not power on. Got a little bit of a glow. I don't want to keep it going very long. We can already tell that there's something going on with the unit. All right, next I will pull the cover and we'll take a look from the top side on my tiny bench with this Magnavox CDB560. I should mention briefly that I think the 560 uses the CDM2, which was one of the super rugged early Philips single arm transports. They're pretty much indestructible, so if we can get the power issue resolved, I bet it'll play. More later. Back on my tiny bench with the overhead view of this Magnavox CDB560. Just taking a quick look inside. Looks to be pretty clean. Obviously the transformer power supply section seems to have 4 regulators. Some filter caps here. It's got several of these terrible Philips blue axials, which invariably those will go crazily bad. And otherwise, man, it looks pretty clean. No obvious signs of distress. The plastic looks to be in good shape. No chips or cracks. Yeah, looks, for an older unit like this, it looks pretty new. Let's see, when are we? Built 1987. June of 1987, so looks pretty good. Here you can see it's made in Belgium. Does have a digital out. Had one of the DINs for the remote. I don't know if anybody ever used them, but they were pretty prevalent at one time. So I was hoping there would be something just stand out obvious. You know, here's the problem. But I don't see anything like that. So we're gonna have to do some actual troubleshooting. I think next I'll go and take a look at the schematic. Obviously, we've got bridge rectifier here, maybe a second one back here. Looks like there are probably 2 or 3 rails that's created in that section, or that are created in that section. And we'll just spend a few minutes looking at the circuit. I can read the schematic because it's a schematic. I can't read the manual because it's in Dutch. And more later. Thanks. Back on the bench with the Magnavox CDB560, which we've called no power, but I don't think that quite describes it. And there's certainly no response. Eject didn't work. Open and close, I guess it's called. Did not work. There was nothing on the display. None of the buttons were functional. So it sure looked like no power. So naturally, the first thing you check are the power supply. Got, in essence, 3 supplies here. This is plus and minus 15 from this bridge rectifier. This is plus 11, plus 5, minus 6. And then this is a minus 11. So I check. Plus 15 is good. Minus 15 is good. Plus 11 is good. Plus 5 is good. Minus 6 is good. Minus 11 is good. Something's not quite making sense. I then noticed that they send an AC signal, pins 1 and 2, off to the hinterlands. And actually, here and here. So I start checking the voltages around these transistors. Primarily this one, because that's at the top of the board. These two are under the board. I check here, 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 and I'm getting some really, really strange indications. I then check to ground pins 1 and pins 2, and I'm looking for 19 volts AC, but I don't have it. And it seems to vary. And certainly if I look from here to here, I don't see 38 volts AC. So I turned everything off and resorted back to Troubleshooting 101. So what I did, bear with the camera movement here. I pulled these Stocko connectors off. I cleaned the pins. I cleaned inside the connector. Slide it on, off, slide on, off a few times with these 4 or 5. Then I let it dry. I use Electrosolve, which is no residue. I let it dry. I come back. Again, bear with the camera movement. And lo and behold, I've got something on the display. And I've got response. And what's on the display is responsive to the number of tracks. And when I push play, it plays. However, as you'll see, the segments are somewhat, as my wife likes to say, jacked up. We see the track's fine, but these other 2 segments are not working. And generally these are the NSM 4002A, I think. And it's a 4-segment display. We can see this segment, or these several segments of the 3rd display are actually out. The track shows, index or time doesn't. But it's actually playing. And, as I'll show you in a second, it's producing an output. I'll be back momentarily. The disc that I'm playing is this stereo file, test disc number 2. Still great after all these years. I guess that's track 3, acoustic drum solo. I won't let it play too long. Number 5, Stravinsky. 7, Schubert. 9, Bach. I heard of him. So it plays. Sounds good. But nobody wants to buy CD player with these segments jacked up. So I'm gonna have to dig through the pile of donor units, those that have broken bits of plastic or whatnot, see if I can find a display to pop in here, because this is otherwise just a super clean player. More later.
(125 Hz). (250 Hz).
Back on my tiny bench with this newly repaired, fully operational Magnavox CDB560. And what do we get to listen to? That's right, royalty-free music, because royalty-free music is the best music. Thanks for watching another episode of my tiny bench, and we'll certainly be bringing more later. We recently suffered some pretty severe storm surge from Hurricane Helene, and as a result we lost some equipment. So this is the first video after the storm. Nice to be back up and running. And thanks to everyone for the continued support. I may do a workshop tour, but there's just not that much to the workshop. I'll just do a quick overview. Got isolation transformer, powered speaker, Variac, digital Tektronix oscilloscope, other powered speaker. Heathkit signal generator, low noise, 2 power supplies, 2 fluke meters, low noise signal generator, 2 Hewlett-Packard digital multimeters, frequency counter, Philips WaveTech signal generator, Hewlett-Packard power supply, Tektronix 2246 oscilloscope. And that's about it on my tiny bench. Thank you.